According to a recent survey by the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, 26% of seniors between the age of 65 and 74 are still employed. What do these people do about Medicare? Hi, I'm Larry Goist, owner of LMS Insurance Group, where we help seniors navigate the Medicare maze. So I'm going to cover three basic topics today. Number one is who can actually avoid taking Medicare at 65 without penalty. Number two is who should avoid taking Medicare at age 65. And then finally, number three is how do you sign up for Medicare if you do delay and then you pick it up later on. That's all coming up next. So who can actually avoid taking Medicare at age 65 without getting a penalty? Well, really the only group of people that can avoid taking Medicare when they're 65 is people that are receiving health insurance from either them or their spouse's current active employment. But the key is whoever you're receiving the insurance from has to be actively employed. And then the second part of this is that health insurance has to offer drug coverage that is as good or better than what's offered by Medicare. So if you do have health insurance from either yourself or your spouse's active employment, and that coverage also includes prescription drug coverage, which is as good or better than what's offered by Medicare, then you can avoid taking your Medicare benefits at 65 and you don't have to worry about being penalized. But there's a couple caveats to this. So number one, if you are at an employer with less than 20 employees, you're going to be required to take Medicare A and B. So in that case, there's really not much of a point to keep the employer coverage on the side because you would be paying two separate premiums. You'd be paying your Medicare Part B premium, and then you'd also be paying your group health insurance premium. So if it is less than 20 employees, you might as well drop the employer coverage at that point and just explore your Medicare options. Now, if you're at an employer with 20 employees or more, then you are not required to take Part B of Medicare. That group health insurance will still cover you. And if you just had Part A of Medicare, A would pay secondary to your group health insurance. So your group health insurance would pay first, and then at the hospital, your Part A, Medicare would pay second. In this scenario, you wouldn't add Part B because you wouldn't want that additional premium on the side. So who should actually avoid taking Medicare Part B at 65? Well, if you do have coverage from yourself or a spouse's active employment, you want to check how good is your employer coverage. And there's going to be three basic things you want to look at. Number one, what is the premium you're paying to have that health insurance? They usually deduct your health insurance from your biweekly payroll or your weekly payroll. So are they taking $100 a month for you to be covered? Is it $200 a month? Is it $300 a month? If you're covered by you and your spouse, then whatever they're taking, divide that by 2. That's usually what it costs per person. The second thing that you want to look at is what is your deductible on your group health insurance plan? Most group health insurance plans have a deductible, anywhere from $500 to $5,000. Now, on Medicare Advantage plans, very few have deductibles. So if you have a work plan that has a $2,000 deductible and you're comparing that to a Medicare Advantage plan, most Medicare Advantage plans have zero deductible. The third thing you want to look at is what is your maximum out-of-pocket on your group health insurance. Your maximum out-of-pocket is the ceiling on what you could pay in one calendar year. So no matter what happens to you, you can never pay more than that amount of dollars on your plan. So you're going to pay co-pays and co-insurances up to that ceiling. So if your max out of pocket is $1,000, you have a phenomenal group health insurance plan. Whereas if your maximum out of pocket is $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, you might want to consider looking at Medicare plans because in the long run, it's probably going to save you money. I'll give you a real life example. I have a client I've been working with who he decided to stay on his work plan once he turned 65. All he took was Part A. Well, he had to go get cortisone shots for his shoulder. His work plan, his group health insurance, had a $2,000 deductible. So when he went to get these cortisone shots, he had to pay every penny up to $2,000 for the cortisone shots. Had he taken a Medicare Advantage plan at 65, that same exact procedure might have cost him $200 or $300. So because he didn't understand how the deductible worked on his group plan, he literally wasted $2,000 by not taking advantage of his Medicare coverage. Guys, don't forget, you've paid 40 and 50 years for this Medicare entitlement, right? You've paid taxes to earn this. So the minimum you should do is compare your group health insurance to what's offered by Medicare because you've earned that opportunity. On your group health insurance, it's one plan with one set of benefits. If you go on Medicare, you're going to have over 50 different options for how you can obtain your coverage. One other side note, sometimes you're covering a spouse on your group health insurance. So even if you don't have the best insurance at work, you might not be able to go on Medicare because if you dropped from the plan, they would drop your spouse. So sometimes even if you don't have great group health insurance, you have to keep it to cover your younger spouse who's not yet Medicare age. Because a spouse that's 60, 61, or 62, sometimes the premiums for insurance for them on their own can be quite hefty. So it might make sense as a family just to keep the group health insurance until your spouse turns 65 as well. So if you end up delaying your Part B coverage, right? If you kept your group health insurance and you just added Part A of Medicare, okay, Part A is premium free. So the minimum you would do is add Part A, unless you're contributing to an HSA. If you're contributing to an HSA at work, you do not want to pick up Part A because there will be tax penalties down the road. But if you're not contributing to an HSA, then pick up Medicare Part A at 65 at minimum. Okay, so now you have your group health insurance. That's paying first. Then Part A, which is free, is paying second at the hospital. Now let's say you're 67 or you're 68 and you decide it's time to retire. Well, at that point, you're obviously going to come off of your group health insurance. So anytime you're on group health insurance, you are allowed to enroll in Part B of Medicare. You get a special election period to come off the group health insurance and enroll in Part B. If you don't apply for Part B when you're on the group health insurance, you still have 8 months from when your group health insurance ends to apply for Part B of Medicare. Now, it wouldn't be very practical to wait because you wouldn't have coverage in that gap, but you certainly could wait and you wouldn't receive penalty. You have up to 8 months after to activate Part B. And the way you do this is very simple. There's going to be 2 forms that you're going to fill out. They're going to be linked in the description below. You're going to have to fill out the CMS 40B, which is your application for Part B of Medicare, and you're also going to have to fill out the CMS L564. Now, the L564 is actually for your employer to fill out. And this is where they are basically proving that you've had eligible group health insurance since you turned 65. So you fill out the 40B, your employer fills out the L564. Once you have both of those forms completed, then you're either going to fax them or mail them to your local Social Security office. Once your Social Security office receives those forms, it's going to take them anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to process that. And then you're going to get a new Medicare card in the mail that's going to have your Part B on it as well. So deciding on whether or not you should keep group health insurance or go on Medicare at 65, that decision could cost or save you thousands of dollars if you make the right or wrong decision. And that's why we're here to help at LMS Insurance Group. Look, we can easily compare your group health insurance to how Medicare works. We could show you a plethora of plans in your area so that you can make an educated decision on which route to go. If you do need help exploring your options, please use the information listed on the screen below, as we'd love to do a plan comparison and show you how your group health insurance might compare to Medicare coverage. Don't forget, You guys have paid for these benefits for 40 years. The least you should do is explore and see which one is going to be a more affordable and a better health insurance option once you turn 65. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please give it a like or a share. And again, I'm Larry Goist, owner of LMS Insurance Group. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks.